Today's live stream. I'm Zach Scriven, your host, and today we're going to be answering the question that came in from our Discord server, the Industry 4.0 community Discord server. How do you document a namespace? We know namespace is the architecture you want to connect all your disparate data systems and data sources together in an enterprise or a manufacturer. But how do you actually visualize this namespace, and how do you track progress when going through a transformation, right? We know we can't just cut everything over at once. We're sort of connecting things into the unified namespace, into your IIoT infrastructure. So I was like, hey, I want to answer that question on today's live Q&A. We do this live Q&A every week, Tuesday at noon Central. So make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you guys get notified when we go live. Welcome, Marcus. Welcome, Cheryl. Welcome, Alan. Curious, for those of you that are in the chat right now, let me know where you guys are joining from. Are you guys joining from, what part of the world? From home, you work at the office. I'm here at my house in Salt Lake City. So, yeah, it's a nice day, a little cold, starting to warm up a little bit. Snow-capped. I'm looking at the snow-capped mountains right out my window right now. Hey, Mason. So yeah, let me know where you guys are joining from today, and then we'll start getting into it. So real quick, Digital Factory Mastermind. We kicked off the 12-week accelerator program last week, and we got some pretty good feedback. So if you guys are in that or if you are in our mastermind and you're doing the 12-week accelerator program, make sure to watch module 1 of Mastermind, because we're going to be reviewing that tomorrow on the call. We got some great feedback, from people who are, hey, my goal in this 12-week program through Mastermind is to learn how to do a DTMA. My goal is to increase my full stack fluency. My goal is to, become confident in my ability to digitally transform my organization, right? To create a roadmap. A lot of great feedback that we got. Hayden is working from home in California. Carrie is in Paradise, Texas. Oh, that sounds nice, Carrie. Welcome, Carrie. Dwayne is FLK, New York. Tomas in Sylvania. Welcome, Tomas. Good to see you. Manbier is in Detroit, Michigan. Alex Berthel is hi from Germany. Marcus Eager, Austria, Graz, from home. It's now 7 p.m. Thank you for joining in your evening. Really glad to be here, Marcus. Thank you. Mark Mamenga is at the house in Kansas City. Lee Taylor, part of our programs. Thank you, Lee. Working on any interesting water projects, Lee, right now? Alan Ramsey is the beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Awesome. Luis, Orange County. Hope it's doing well over there. I know that's a really expensive place to live in California. Hope you're doing well. Amy, working from home in North Carolina. Amy, did you get your swag pack? I sent out all the swag packs that there's literally 5 left. There's only a handful left. So all of the mentees that signed up, when they signed up, you guys entered in your address. That's what that was so I could send out the remaining batch of swag packs that Phoenix Contact had sponsored middle of last year. So awesome. Yes, thank you. I know Dustin from Canada got his, and he shared it in the Discord, or he shared it on LinkedIn, so that was awesome. Paul Wright, Indianapolis, awesome. Trying to get a UNS through into the build phase. Didn't get mine. If you guys are in part of Mentorship or Mastermind and you didn't get the swag packs yet, you should have received it by now. So if not, there's literally a handful left. It was kind of on a first come, first serve basis. So send me a DM on Discord, and I'll see if I can get the remaining shipped out to you. There's, Bob Burger still waiting on mine. Yeah, send me a message in Discord with your address, and I'll get you guys shipped out the remaining ones. And then once they're sold out, they're sold out, and maybe we'll do something like that again this year. So yeah, the Mastermind, couldn't do this without the support of our programs. So meeting tomorrow, covering the first 12 modules of Mastermind in 12 weeks. We did record the review session last week, so if you missed it, you should be able to watch that, get caught up. This week and next week are really long. There's 8 hours in the first module and second module. then it sort of transitions to like more 4 hours per week. So, stay in there, keep going through the training, block out time on your calendar. I went through it and took notes. Alan also, with 4.0 Solutions, went through that content as well, taking notes. So we're really looking forward to drive a lot of value for you guys in this program. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. Hey, Jeff, how's it going? Good to see you. Hey, Alden. Hey, Dwayne. Hey, Chris. Welcome from Little Rock, Arkansas. Still waiting on mine. Bob Burgers. So yeah, send me a message on Discord. Sometimes the messages in Discord sort of get stuck to the bottom. So, if I haven't responded, there's like this weird thing on Discord. If you open up a message, but then you don't actually hit a reply, it keeps it wherever it was in the message thread. So like, unless I reply, it'll bring it to the top of your messages, your DMs. So, hey, Walker. Hey, Shannon. All right, let me go ahead and make this bigger here. All right. So again, Digital Factory Mastermind, really proud of that program. And we're looking to also this Friday, we have a mentorship call. And next Friday, we have the monthly mastermind session as well too. So, news and updates, Community Advisory Board met this past week. Obviously, our companies, Intellic Integration, our system integration arm, 4.0 Solutions, the content and digital products company. That's what we're here representing. And then also the new foundation, Bonnie Mae Austin Foundation. For those of you guys that have seen Walker Reynolds' story, the one that we filmed up in New York a few years ago, watch that video and you'll sort of get the background information on what Walker's mission truly is, why he wants to save and create jobs in manufacturing, and really to build his mom's legacy. So that's what the Bonnie Mae Austin Foundation is. The forward-facing brand of the Bonnie Mae Austin Foundation is Adversity and Success, which is really it's the title of Walker's book that he's working on, due to come out this year. So Adversity and Success, it's all about how to turn adversity into success based on Walker's own journey. So that's a pretty exciting initiative. Industry updates. Canary Labs has released version 21.5. This was supposed to be on the last week's update, but we had the Jeff Winter podcast interview. So MQTT collector allowed tag values with no timestamp to use the message timestamp as fallback. So adding more MQTT functionality to their product, really sick. TatSoft and Canary Labs have announced a new partnership and released a new training, TatSoft Canary Workshop. A main 9.2 feature is our TatSoft Canary Historian. So every license that you get with TatSoft, you get an integrated Canary Historian that includes 500 Canary Historian tags with any license from Edge. Wow, that's amazing. From Edge all the way to Frameworks Unlimited for free. You can upgrade tags as needed, and up to unlimited with Frameworks Unlimited. So yeah, we'll share a link to that overview workshop, 27 minutes. So that's pretty sick. Training. That was some of the feedback that we've gotten is like, you guys want to see more training. So people in the community are responding. They see that there's like a need for this type of content. And that was also some of the feedback we got from our last mentorship call. We did sort of more of like group breakouts and sort of discussion. And we got some feedback. Hey, like we want more training in these type of lessons. So that's also what today's Q&A is going to be about is we're answering a question, but it's going to be practical training. I'm actually going to pull up my Ignition Designer and show you guys some scripts that you guys can use in your namespace. Channel updates, 15,900 subscribers. So almost at 16,000 subscribers, growing about 700 to 1,000 subscribers per month. If we could hit 30,000 subscribers this year, that'd be freaking awesome. 3,372 members in Discord. I think 4,000 members in Discord would be a really sick milestone, right? Industry 4.0 community Discord with 4,000 members. And again, sponsored by our programs, which are linked below. All right, so here's the Q&A section. All right, we got through that in 10 minutes. All right, Q&A. Martin Bryan said, "Hey folks, I would like to know how to go about developing documentation in which you can define the topic structure and the attributes of each type of object in the UNS." So that's what today's session is going to be about. I do have everything kind of set up. I did install MySQL Server on the gateway, but for whatever reason, that gateway is just having so much trouble with Java dependencies. So we're going to do everything in Python scripting and like UI versus actual database manipulation. But using the same scripts that we developed today, you can extend it into pulling information from a database and pushing it out to a database. So Shannon said, or Matthew Kendall said, when will the 12-week course be offered? I couldn't get in last week. You can still join, right? If anyone who joins right now, you're automatically going to be added into the accelerator, and you can sort of pick up where we are. The 12-week accelerator is basically going through the 12 first modules of Mastermind week by week by week. We review it in our own time. There's some homework, and then we get together each week to review. So it's, really, it's kind of like a coaching program, keeping you accountable, going through the content, and then also discussing. So you feel like you're going through it together with a group. We had like 50 members in the call last week, which was really just the kickoff call. Tomorrow at first review of the actual module 1. So everyone who's part of that, they've watched module 1 of Mastermind in their own time, which is 8 hours. They built out namespace, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Any questions, any ideas, and also like applications. So it's really kind of like a group discussion environment. So the book is complete, should be printing next week. Fingers crossed if supply chain issues are addressed. All right. Let me stop sharing this. Oh, turn my camera off. I'm going to share my entire screen here. Yeah. So here's our Discord server. Okay. So I got a couple tabs open. Here is our ignition documentation. I'm going to show you guys really. So we're doing the namespace in ignition today, but this could work in another platform, that you can connect to with MQTT. You could even do this with like MQTT broker and a Python, just a Python IDE. But for simplicity and making it easy for people to get started, we're going to do it in ignition. So the function I want to show you guys today is system.tag.browse. And some of you guys, if you guys are more advanced or intermediate developers with Ignition, you use this probably all the time. A couple years ago, it was probably like 7 years ago, this actually used to be an IA Labs module. So this wasn't native to the platform in version 7.6, I think. You had to download IA Labs from the module marketplace and download this system.tag functionality. They've actually recently changed it in 8.2. Where does it say? Yeah, 8.1.2. This following, I don't know if you guys can see this here, but it said this following feature is new in Ignition version 8.1.2. Click here to check out new features. So I had some of my scripting, some of my scripts. I had a it was a little rusty, but I got it all working, and you guys should get some value out of this. All right, so here is our namespace. All right, so we have everything organized in an enterprise, site, area, line, cell. So this is just a simple bottling plant where we have enterprise-wide with 5 sites, and then we have a couple areas per site, and then a couple lines. At each line, we have a capper, filler, a palletizer, and a premixer. Well, really, premixer would be first. Premixer, filler, capper, palletizer. This information is really not important, but I just could put a couple memory tags there just so we can see it. What we're going to do is over here on the right, we're going to be building a dashboard. So we're going to be building a dashboard with information that's coming from the namespace. So to answer Martin's question, how do we develop documentation? we're going to use the namespace to self-document, right? We're going to browse the namespace using the system.tag.browse function. We're going to parse through that information in a loop in the Python script. If you're part of mentorship, you're going through Python training. That's why it's part of the mentorship program. The step training is so you can do things like this. So, yeah, it's sort of lagging a little bit. So I'm going to open up this button here, and I got this empty power table. So, power table is one of the easiest ways that you can get data into here is just doing like a SQL query. But what if you want to push data into here from a Python script? I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So Command J to open up the scripting editor. And we're just going to do event handlers action performed. Okay. So over here in the script editor, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, ultimately, we're going to do Python script to push data into the table, power table. So really we need to create some rows, and then we need to, so that's going to be an empty list, and we need to create our headers. So for this example, we're just going to do, three columns of data. So we'll do column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay. So how do we go ahead and populate this data set? So I want to do a simple script, and we're going to build each row. So I'm going to make a row, and then we're going to, so a data set is a list of lists, right? So each row is a list, and then all of the rows is a list of lists. So we're going to do for y in range 10. So we'll do 10 rows in the vertical axis. We'll say row equals empty, and then for x in range 3, we're gonna build each row. So we're gonna do row dot append x. So we're just gonna put 0, 1, 2 into the row, and then after this little sub loop is done, we're gonna append that new row to the rows. So we're gonna do rows dot append row, and then just so we can visualize what we've done, we're going to go ahead and print the rows here. So real quick, we have an empty data set. Really, this is our data set, but we're just calling it rows because that's how the Ignition documentation calls it. So if you guys want to know how I'm doing this, just go to the Ignition documentation and they give you plenty of examples, but it's important to just be able to be fluent in this type of development. So for Y, so that's our vertical axis. You could call it rows, but we're already using that. But so for Y in range 10, we're going to reset each row. And then for X in range 3, we're going to create a list that has a 0, 1, and 2. And then once we're done with that, we're going to append that row to the rows data set. And then we're going to have basically a list of 10 lists, and then we'll print it. So let's go ahead and pull up our script console here. Or no, we're going to pull up console. You can see I was practicing this here earlier here. So I'm just going to go ahead and play, and we're going to hit that button. What? Oh, this is so weird. Okay. Could not show preview. What? It's sort of lagging here. All right, hold on 1 second, guys. Oh, no, I was pressing. All right, so it should be there. Okay, there we go. I was pressing. I thought that was the same thing. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this here, but here is the list. It's a list of 10 lists, which is each of those sub lists is 0, 1, 2. So what I want to do now is I want to publish this data set into this into this table here using that same script. So pull it back up. What we're going to do now is we're going to comment that part out. We're going to turn this into an ignition data set. Like if I pull up this property here, if I pull up the power table, so I did a property editor, went into the root container, clicked on the power table, and then we're looking for the data set data property. If I just said, all right, take these rows and stuff it into the power table there, you're going to get an error that says it's not an ignition pi data set, right? So if you go to details right here, it's saying, it failed to can't convert this list right here into a ignition or ignition common data set. So thankfully there's like a little script that will really easily do that for us. It's called, so we're going to call it data set equals system.data set.to data set. And we're going to take the headers, call it header actually. So it takes two input variables, the header and the rows, or the data, a two-dimensional list. So that's going to convert it into an ignition data set. And then we're going to take this data set and stuff it into our table. And if we did that correctly, it should populate this dynamic list into our table there. If we wanted to make this more dynamic, what we could do is, instead of statically defining the columns here, what we can do is we could just say, all right, headers is empty. So for x in range 3, we could just say, well, I don't want to do that too many times, but if we did it right here, we could say header append column plus string. Let's see if that should work. So that should work there. Yeah, so I need to make it a string object. So I'm trying to show you guys just how dynamic we can actually make this, because it's going to come in play when we're actually doing the doing it with the namespace. So I think it's like string str. There we go. So now we can make it many columns if we wanted to. So if we just said columns equals 5, then we'll put x in range columns here, columns. Oh, that should work. There you go. Am I moving too quick? Yeah, and Walker had a good point here. What's important to note is when browsing tags in Ignition 7, it's not the same as it is for Ignition 8. The tag engine was completely rebuilt for Ignition 8, so the same methods used for browsing changed. It's still called system.tag.browse, but it's completely different in the way that you actually use it. Okay, cool. All right, so now you're familiar, using this, you can basically build any type of data set. Here's actually a really advanced example. Using X and Y, using 4 row and 4X in range this, 4Y in range that, create a data set that's literally 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like it's like a 10 by 10 data set that's each value is from 0 to 99. If you guys can do that, there's, it's a little bit of a brain teaser right there. Walker, thanks for joining. Godspeed. Godspeed or good speed, Jeff? Jeff said Godspeed. I did practice this a little bit before, so. But this is sort of this would be like a pace for like an I've been developing Ignition for a long time. So, but like I said, I was a little rusty because I haven't done it in a while, but thought this would be useful because you guys wanted more development. Okay, so let's go into our namespace browsing. So we got step one done, building a data set in Python, pushing it to a table for visualization. So let's go over to our script library. So here's our script console. So here's the basic tag browse function. One of the things they added was this dot results. So it returns like a dot results object. So you used to just be able to say like for like sites was system.tag.browse, whatever tag path you wanted. And then it would return all the tags in that part of the namespace. Another thing you can do is you can do a recursive browse, but for this, let's just show what this prints out. So for site and sites, let's print out the entire object that it returns so you guys can see what attributes it gives you. So we have 4 sites right now: enterprise site 1, enterprise site 2, enterprise site 3. This is a dictionary. So this is a key value pairs. This is the key full path, and the value is that. Then it has a Boolean, whether or not it has children. So site 1 does have children. Site 2, 3, 4, and 5 don't currently, but that's because I want to build the dashboard, and then I'll go add some tags under those other sites, like as if you were bringing them online and publishing them to the namespace, and then they will have children, and then we'll run that script again, and it'll update our dashboard. It has a name, so that's the tag name, and then it has a tag type. These are all folders. So now I could do a recursive browse, but I want to be very deliberate here, just so it's very easy to follow. So what I want to do now is I want to browse each of the sites folder. And if we're, remember, it's site area line cell. So for reference, that's what we're looking for. So we're just browsing the one enterprise. If you wanted to, you could browse many enterprises and then drill into the sites. But, we're just going to browse this one area of the namespace under the default tag provider enterprise. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, make that bigger. Should be able to. Oh, there we go. Well, command scroll. All right, there we go. Okay, so really simply, now we can just kind of comment that part out. Or actually, what we'll want to do is I want to print, and if you want to just print one value in that dictionary, just do, full path. So you can kind of see what we're working with here. So there's all the tag paths of those 5 sites. So now we want to drill into our areas. So for area, so actually we got to define it out here. Sites equals that, areas equals this, lines equals list, cells equals boom. And then we can even drill down to the tag level. So for area in areas, and then, we'll say areas equals system tag.browse site. We're going to browse this site full path right here. And we want the dot results. So, I should, all right, now we need to do something under here. So now we're going to print area full path. So now we're going one layer down into the area level of the namespace, and we've run that. We see, here's all of our sites, here's the areas, and then let's repeat this a few more times. What we're going to do is we're going to build, we'll probably build like a, you can obviously visualize this already in a tree. So you could use the tree viewer, or you could do what I want to do is like 3 different tables. One showing a table with one column, all of our sites, one table with one column with all of our areas, and then another table with all of our cells. So once we get this script right, we'll plug it into that button script and we'll publish it to a few tables. So for area and areas, print area full path. Now we need to do lines equals this, except we want to do we don't want the site full path. We want the area full path. Oh, then we need to, for line, now we need to go down into those lines. So for line and lines, print line full path. And again, this is very deliberate. You could do this recursively, obviously, but for the entry level developer, this is like a little bit easier to follow. And what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to build the data sets in each one of these little for loops. So that should give us the lines now. There we go. You'll see area 1 has 2 lines, area 2 has 6 lines, and area 3 has 3 lines. One more time. So let's drill into each of the cells. So cells equals system.tag.browse line full path. Results for cell and cells. And this is one of the reasons I love Python, is it's so visually simple to read. Like you read it like you code the way you would talk, right? For each cell, you don't have to use each, but for cell and cells, print cell full path. Actually, let's go ahead and just print the cell so you can actually see what all those objects are. So over here, here we have the capper, filler, palletizer, premixer. These are tag types, UDT instances. They have a type ID, which is the UDT. So we have some different properties based on what it actually is. The value is null. These are just memory tags. So, for visualization purposes, let's go ahead and repeat that same process where we print the full path so we can kind of see the tree as we build it down. Boom. All right. So there's all of the cells within our namespace. If we wanted to go one level further, we would just say tags. So we're getting the individual tags that are part of those cells. This one, you would definitely want to use a recursive browse because some of these UDT objects may have like nested UDT tags. So like it may have a folder under this UDT called OEE, and then under OEE, you'd have, performance, availability, and quality. So you'd probably want to do a recursive browse here. So let's go ahead and do that. Browse this cell full path. And then the way that you do, pull up the documentation here. The way that you do recursive true is basically you have a tag type instance. Yeah, so you have a dictionary of properties. So you want to copy this, and we're going to go back to our scripting library. But we don't want the only tag type instances UDTs. So we're going to delete that property. So we're just going to do recursive equals true. There are, in my example, there are no nested UDT, there are no nested tags under the cell folder. But like I said, if you had a folder, if those cell objects had any type of folder or hierarchy within them, this is the level of where we've switched over from like site area line cell to like, what's under that cell. A cell is like a machine, right? A line has multiple machines. You could think of it like that. Under the machine level, you're going to have your actual values, but you still might have like a folder under there. Like you might have motor 1, motor 2, motor 3 within that one cell. And so you might have a folder there. So we're going to want to do recursively browsing here. And then we'll pull up the results. And then for tag in tags, print tag full path. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. Wow, it's a lot of you there. Promise we're going to get to an exciting part here. All right, so there we go. No errors. I love that. You can repeat that point about where their keys come from. Are the dictionary keys composed of the properties of the item? Yes. Yeah, if you notice, right, so if up here we print, right, so if we want to print site, this is a folder, we'll print the actual object there. And then if under here we'll print not tag. Well, yeah, we could print tag to see that. Print tag. What we'll see here is the objects will have different properties based on the type. Print tag. I know this is kind of small here, but let me see what I can do to. So yeah, this is kind of a lot. So this is a tag. Yeah. So it has a data type Boolean, right? So like if it's a folder, it doesn't have a data type, right? If it's a UDT, it has a type ID. It has the UDT type ID. But if it's just a folder, like these, let me pull up. So here's a site. Notice this data set only goes out to here. So the site, which is a folder, has full path. Everything has a full path. Everything has whether or not it has children. It has a name, but the tag type is folder. Then that's it. But if the tag type here is, tag type atomic tag, it has actually has a list of attributes, which right now it has no attributes, but it has a value source, has a value, which is a value quality timestamp. So like, depending on what object it is, it returns a different dictionary basically, or object. If you want to know more about that, the documentation is really helpful about the results objects. So here's general keys. Like I was saying, everything has a full path. Everything has children, has a tag type. But here, if the tag node, so if you, instead of just saying addressing, like if I just said on every result object, try to access the value, well, that would have a key error if I tried to do that. If I tried to do that on the folder, for example, it would error. So what you'd want to, sorry, my screen is lagging here. If I said so if I try to do site value, we'd get a key error, right? Key error value. So what it's saying to do is if it's a tag type atomic, if what does it say? If the tag type equals atomic, then do that, right? So you could say like, all right, if tag type equals atomic, then print what do we say, site value. That should not error, hopefully. Oh, expecting colon, y'all, if I do my thing right. Is it double equals? There we go. Yeah, once I get my Python code right, then it'll work. So like, this would be, you'd want to check. So like I said, unless you're accessing one of these general tags, you can just go ahead and access it on every object. But if you want to make sure, like if it's the tag type is of something that has a value, you'll have this little flag called tag type equals atomic tab. Then it'll also have these keys. If it's a UDT, it'll have add the following key, tag type. It also has tag ID. So this is actually not, it's missing. It has tag ID, right? So if we go back here, Let's just delete this. All right, I'll comment that out just so for reference. Like under the cell, our cells are UDT. If we print cell full object. Yeah, let me restart that. It also had type ID. So tag type UDT instance, type ID filler. Is that what it said? Yeah, it's tag type. It represents the UDT is based on or off, based off. UDT definitions will also have a value of none. Yeah, so data type is UDT. Tag type is UDT instance, type ID. Yeah, I think that documentation is incorrect actually, because I'm looking at it right here. It says tag type. So it's not actually that. Could be, I could be mistaken. I'm sort of going off script here. So tag type is a UDT instance. Type ID is a filler. So we see that there. But it's saying, oh no, that's right. Yeah. No, it's type ID. Yeah, this should say type ID. UDT instances have also following key type ID. So there you go. That makes sense. Thanks, Amy. All right, so let's wrap this up here because we got like 20 more minutes, and this part I haven't actually done yet. So, but I'm pretty sure we can get this accomplished. So let's take this script here. Let's build the data sets and stuff here. So let me go ahead and clean this up. Let me zoom out a little bit here. All right, so we're printing the site. Let's delete that there because we don't need that. This is technically check to see if it's atomic type to prevent key error. And out. So anyways, let's do this. So these are going to be our rows. Well, no, these are we need a separate list. So we'll call these we'll call them UNS sites, UNS areas, UNS lines, UNS cells, and we'll leave tags out because that's just a little bit much, but we could probably do like tag count or something. Show you guys how we could just pull some additional metrics for our dashboard. So what I want these to do, these are my rows basically. So now keep in mind, this is going to be just a data set that's only one column, but we still need to put those values in a row. So what we'll do is we'll put it in a row and we'll append it to this rows data set, like on our data set example. So, all right, so here what we're going to want to do is we don't need a print site anymore, but we are going to do, we'll do UNS rows dot append, and then we'll put it into it. We'll just put it into a little list right here. The we'll just do the name site name. All right, so here's what I did. Oh shit. So I'm taking the name of the site. I'm putting it into a list. So here's the name of the site. Here's our site object. We're getting the name. We're putting it into a list. So I know it's hard to see, but it's really just because I'm wrapping it in brackets. This is basically a list with one item with this name of the site. And then we're appending that to our rows, UNS, or not rows, UNS rows, UNS sites. Sorry guys, I'm going crazy here. UNS sites. UNS sites.append is site name. And we'll repeat that for each level. And then we'll have all of our data sets and we'll push it into a couple different tables and then you can see everything. And then the magic moment is we'll go add a few more rows and sites, run the script again, and you'll see it populate. So UNS sites, UNS areas. So UNS areas dot append, make a list of area name. And we'll do UNS lines dot append list with the line name. And this might look a little weird because the lines are like really named the same, but that's okay. Like we could do the full path if we wanted to, and that'd be really easy to switch at the end. But all right, so there's the lines. We could do a two-dimensional data set and have the line in the cell, or the name and the tag path. So UNS lines, all right, UNS cells, UNS cells dot append cell name into a list, and then we'll boom, and we'll just call it like that. So we don't need to do tags here. So I'll just copy that out. All right, so then at the end of the day, I want to print those things. So print UNS sites, just to make sure it worked. All right, where am I messing up here? Line 33. Oh, there we go, missing a list. All right, there we go. So there's our list of our sites. If we wanted to do UNS cells, there's the list of our cells at the end of the day. So now what we'll do is we'll take this script and we'll bring it over to the table here. I'm just going to duplicate this button. So this one's going to be the one with the new script. So scripting, got to go grab the script again. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to bring in my table again. Our table data set equals data set, and then the data set again is going to be data set equals system dot tag or dot data set dot to data set, and our headers is basically going to be sites, and the rows is going to be UNS sites. And if we did that right, it should work. And actually, hold on, I'm gonna comment out all the print statements because like we don't need it in here. It's gonna spam up our console. All right, hopefully that works. Boom, there we go. All right, so now let's do this. So sites, we'll do, this will be our areas. Lines, cells. So let me just rename these. How do I do that? Oh, there we go. Power table, sites. So let's do areas. Lines, cells. Okay. Back into our script editor, and you know, again, this is not super optimized, but I'm just trying to make it easy to follow here. So we'll do this. This table set sites areas, UNS areas, and this is power table areas, right? Like that. Boom. You know, it'd be really sick is if this was dynamic. And I don't want to blow your guys' minds here, but like imagine if you click this site and then it showed you all the areas in that site, and then you click this area and it showed you all the cell, or it shows you all the lines in that area, and then you finally click the line and then it shows you all the cells on that line. That would be like advanced, probably like, you know, Probably too much for today's live stream because we only have 10 minutes, but using the concepts that we taught today, and if you look under the all properties editor, you can use this property called selected, it's like selected row or something. Oh no, that's the button. Here's the power table. Yeah, selected column, selected row. Basically what I would do is I would make a custom property on this power table that extracted the name of the site, or probably like the full path of the site, based on the selected row and the selected column. So then that way it makes it a little more object oriented. But let's finish this off real quick. So let's go back into our script and we'll do the same thing for the lines and cells. So let's do this, one more time, two more times. So this is sites, areas, lines, cells, UNS, lines, UNS, cells. This is lines, cells. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but basically these are the 4 tables. I named the tables so I didn't have to go in and pick them from the property editor. I just know what the names are right here. That's why naming your objects is really important, so your script is readable. And I could probably document this more with more comments, but I think you guys can follow along here. So now that'll give us basically every site, every area, every line, every cell. And if we wanted to go here and just say, hey, I want these 3 lines, or no, excuse me, I want this area under this site and this site and this site and this site. And then we run it again. So we just brought on like 5 different sites. There's area 1. Now, like I said, it's sort of confusing because you're like, well, what area is this? So let's make this a 2-dimensional data set with the name of the site and then the full path. So then we could sort of clarify what it is. So we pull it back up. If we wanted to do areas, so the areas, so we'll do area name, and then we'll do the full path. So now under the areas data set, we need to go add that in. So when we append the row to the UNS areas, we're going to add the name, but we're also going to add a second list item now called area. We're going to get the full path, add in. Now what you should be able to see is, oh, I didn't like that. Alternative input. All right, so that should be good. Oh, look at that right there. I put the parenthesis on the wrong side. All right, there we go. Now it should be a 2-dimensional data set with the name and the full path. Yeah, there we go. So, real easy. And you guys can extend this however you want, make as many rows, make as many columns. You could probably put it in one table. The reason why I didn't just put it into one table is because, like, when you're building a data set, the number of columns, the number of values in each row needs to match. So if you have, like, however many rows, they all need to have that same number of columns. But you could have it like empty or something like that. So, here's all the areas, here's area 1, here's area 2, etc. We got a couple more minutes. Should we do lines based on selected area? Would that be valuable? Mark, all right, so we get this question a lot, actually. We should probably do something just on this. So the way that it works is when you're publishing into the group ID, you're publishing a structured object in there. So you create, the best way to do it is you have a plant level UNS and you have an enterprise level UNS. And within the context of that group, you publish a structured hierarchy. So you have already, plant area line, right? So the plant publishes in as a site, basically. And within that one group ID, you already have that structure built into it. Dave Schultz has worked with this a lot more than I have. he has a great answer. But that's essentially what it is like, if you wanted to just publish everything from the edge straight into a UNS and have all that context, you wouldn't be able to do it. You'd have to, the best way to do it is publish into a site level broker or a plant level broker, build the structure you want there with the, with the areas and the lines. And then when you publish the site in as a group ID, then you automatically have that structure built into it when you publish it to your enterprise level. All right, so let's do that. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a property, custom property on this areas table. So do customizers, custom properties, and we'll call this the selected area, and it's gonna be a string. Hopefully I can finish this in time. All right, so I basically, whenever I select the new area here, I want to get the selected row and get the value at that second index in this data set to get the full path and bring it here. So then that way in my script, I can just bring in this selected area property. So let's go in here. Should we do an expression? Yeah, that might be the best way to do it, expression. So let's grab the areas data set, and then we're going to want to basically get the value. Now, like I really need to get. So there's a function to get the value at a certain data set. So advanced sort data set. No, do we want to sort data set? We want to get aggregates. I think it's just like this or something, like 0 or something. I don't know. Let's see right there. Oh, there it is. Duh. That was actually easier than I thought. All right. So look, so it's just accessing it like as if it's a list object. Okay. So it's because I hard coded it. So it's just getting area number 0. So if we bring in, like, let's say 0, 1. So get row 0, column 1. That should be, yeah. So now, okay, that's what we're going to do. So if you guys see there, basically all I'm doing is accessing this as if it were like a Python list. So right here, I'm getting row 0, column 1. So we're always going to, I think we can also do like based on the name, we could do like full path, I believe. Does that work? Yeah, that also works. So, but instead of 0, what we want to do is get selected row. So we'll go grab that property, we'll grab the selected row. Boom. Now this should, oh, didn't like that. Maybe I need to cast it to an int or something. Oh, you know what? It's probably because it's a null value. Yeah, index -1. Okay, so all right, guys, this is getting a little advanced, but basically because nothing is selected, it has a selected row of -1. So basically we're going to wrap it in a try. So basically we're going to try that. Oh man. No, not try. We're going to do, I think, if logic, if condition, return true return, otherwise false return. So if condition, so if this equals -1, return 0, otherwise return the actual selected row. That should work. All right, boom. So, and we could probably have it return nothing if it is not selected, but you would just wrap another if statement in there. So now if I select this, yeah, so you see this right here, this property is changing based on what I'm selecting here. So now I just want to, every time this property changes, I'm going to rerun the script to update those lines. Sound good? Oh, we're almost out of time. 5 minutes to the hour. Is he going to make it into the money shot in time? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, well, let's just grab it from the button since it's already there. So go to the button. Another button. Actually, you know, I'm just going to delete the button. No, actually, I'm going to grab the script. So we'll go to this script editor. We'll just grab all this stuff. We'll go to this. We're going to do scripting on this. We'll do scripting property change. So property change, script editor. So basically we're going to do that, but instead of we'll do lines. Delete this. So we don't want to do any of this. What we want to do is, so it's our selected area, right? We want to get the lines for the selected area. So we're just going to do this part. Now we'll do the cells too. Shift tag. All right. So for line and lines is going to be system.tag.browse tag path, which is the one that's selected. So we'll do the selected area equals, we'll go grab the property from the table. Here it is, selected area. That's our tag value. So we're going to browse the selected area results. And we're going to do for line and lines. So it's just going to be the lines in that lines. And then we're going to do the cells within those lines. And then we're going to pump it to the lines data set. Okay. Didn't like that. What did it not like? Expecting a new line. All right. So it's formatting. What is it missing? Oh, we need to get rid of this. Oh, there we go. All right. So I think this should work. Yep. There you go, guys. All right. 2 minutes over. So these are the lines for area 2. There's 3 lines. Then there's 6 lines. Oh, it's a little slow. So there's 6 lines for this area. These are the lines for this area. Let's have it update the cells too, because might as well. I just need to put that in the property change script. And if you guys have any questions, type them in now. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'll get to them right before we close out here. So then we're going to do lines to data set cells UNS cells for table cells. All right, do this again. So I want to click this area. There's the cells for that area. Boom. Here's the cells for this area. This one has a lot of lines, so there's a lot of cells. Here's this area, just has 1. Right? If I made a new area under like site 2 that was empty, new tag folder area, and I run the button again. Should see it there. Here's area. Zach has no lines, has no cells. All right, guys. All right, that's it for today. Let me pull it back out. You're a wizard, Harry. Mark Ritchie, Zach's tips and tricks. Thanks, man. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Marcus. 5 minutes to the hour. Is he going to make it to the money shot? Yeah, the money shot. Thanks, Cheryl. All right, guys. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the Discord. We're gonna call it for today. 5 minutes over. So I actually have a meeting I got to jump on. So see you guys tomorrow. Peace.